Hi guys, welcome back to day 2 of SAT Grammar. Today we'll be going over tips and tricks. The writing language section is the second section on the SAT and tests you on both grammar and effective use of language. This section consists of 44 questions to complete in 35 minutes, which means you have less than a minute to complete each question. To be exact, it should take you 47.7 seconds per question. We can use the acronym PIP to summarize studying for this section. You see, grammar is all about practice, intuition, and patterns. In order to practice grammar, you have to look out for patterns and use your intuition, and at the same time practice multiple times. So our first concept for the SAT grammar section is about concision and redundancy. You'll see a lot of questions that ask you to avoid repetition. For example, if you're getting the same point across with multiple sentences that sound the same, you should choose the one that's the shortest and gets the point across the best. Here we have an example of a question they might ask. It says, the chance of winning championships is exciting to the players. The players need to work hard in order to win. So here we have two complete sentences. The chance of winning championships is exciting to the players. And the other sentence is, the players need to work hard in order to win. Right here, we have a redundant part in which we refer the players twice. You can see here that if we just use comma who, we get the same point across because we know who we're specifying, the players. So the other part of redundancy are wordy sentences. Extra words should be deleted. For example, here we have this phrase, large humongous trees. Large and humongous are similar terms, they mean the same thing. So we can just get rid of one and just say large trees. Another concept we can use are transitions to shorten sentences. For example, it says here, the program is required for all students to take if they want to graduate high school. After this, they can start applying to colleges. There are two complete sentences here, and if we want to combine them, we can say, after taking the required program, students can graduate high school and start applying to colleges. They both convey the same exact idea, and this one is a lot shorter and more concise. Number 2, commonly confused words. We need to be comfortable with words that sound the same but mean different. For example, accept vs accept, affect, which is a verb, vs effect, which is a noun, sight vs sight vs sight. These words sound the exact same, but they mean different things. We have to know the difference between contractions and possessive pronouns. It is a contraction, and it's is a possessive pronoun. You are vs your, they are vs their vs their. Fewer vs less. Fewer is used when you can count the noun following after it. For example, it would be better if we use fewer water bottles. In this example, we can count how many water bottles there are. For example, we can say there are 8 water bottles or there are 100 water bottles. However, we use less when the noun that follows after is not countable and more abstract. For example, we need less talk and more work. We can't quantify talk. We can't say 1 talk, 2 talk, 3 talk. Number 3, fixing incomplete sentences or run-ons. Incomplete sentences are when you're missing a subject, a verb, or both. Run-ons are when you have two complete sentences and they're not separated by punctuation. In this example, the sentence is, the child ate rocks, he got a stomach ache. This is a run-on because there are two complete sentences. The child ate rocks is a sentence, and the other one is, he got a stomach ache, which is another complete sentence. In order to fix this grammatically incorrect sentence, we can use either punctuation such as periods or exclamation marks, or we can use a comma in a conjunction. In this case, and is a conjunction. Another option is to use semicolons. Semicolons can separate two complete sentences. And the last option is to use colons. In this case, we have to be aware of the sentence that comes before a colon. It has to be a complete sentence. Punctuation is a huge part of the section. And a key example of punctuation are using commas to format lists. For example, if you have a list of objects such as books, pens, paper, you can use a comma in the conjunction and to separate them. You can have as many objects or nouns as you want in a list. The comma and part always follows before the last object. We can also use semicolons to separate objects in a list. This is only used when we already have a comma separating the adjectives describing the noun. This semicolon acts as the same punctuation as this comma in the list. So this is a summary and overview of punctuation must-have rules. Commas basically connect two independent clauses with conjunctions. We use this acronym fanboys to list all the conjunctions that we can use. For example, A would stand for and S would stand for so. Commas also separate extra information and they format lists. Semicolons join two independent clauses, so we have to have two complete sentences before and after the semicolon. Colons must come after an independent clause. There cannot be any sentence fragments before the colon. Dashes take place of colons and act as extra info commas. And if we use a dash, as you can see here, there also has to be another dash following after it. We can't have a dash and let's say a comma after here. It has to be consistent. So what defines extra information in the sentence? We can see here in this example, it says John Smith, comma, a retired author, comma, likes to swim on his free time, comma, and his wife likes to sing. So in this sentence, this part is non-essential information. A way we can test that is if we just get rid of this and we read John Smith likes to swim on his free time and his wife likes to sing, it doesn't disturb the idea of this sentence. So in other words, if we get rid of the area that's enclosed by commas, it doesn't take away anything from the meaning of the entire sentence. We still know that John Smith likes to swim on his free time and that his wife likes to sing. So we can either use commas to surround this part or we can use dashes as well. In here, the semicolon is basically taking place of the comma and conjunction. These connect to complete sentences, which is this part, and this other part is complete sentence. Here, it's connecting to complete sentences as well. The same thing can be said for colons. The only rule that comes with colons is that this part, the sentence before, has to be a complete sentence. This part after can be a sentence fragment. It doesn't have to be a complete sentence. So the last concept of part 1 of the SAT grammar section is parallel structure. Parallel structure is a balance within one or more sentences of similar phrases or clauses that have the same grammatical structure. So in this example, it says they arrived at the pool, put on their caps, and they wore their goggles. As you can see here, it doesn't say they put. So we can't have they wore in here because it doesn't follow the pattern of just including the verb. And this would be the correct fix. They arrived at the pool, put on their caps, and wore their goggles. Another example of parallel structure is having the same verb form throughout the sentence. For example, it says here, becoming an athlete means working hard, eating right, and have a positive mindset. The pattern here is that this verb has the suffix ing throughout the sentence. However, here we just have. So the correct fix is changing have to having and including the same suffix ing. This is also where intuition comes into play. If you read this, you'll see that by using have, it makes the sentence sound very unnatural. So another example of parallel structure is the placement of the nouns in the sentence. For example, it says here, the hotel had a gym on the first floor. This first floor part is towards the end of the sentence. An ice cream shop on the second floor. As you can see here, the second floor part is towards the end. And the third floor had a restaurant. This part is incorrect because the third floor part is towards the beginning of the sentence. Instead, it should be placed towards the end. So that's it for part 1 of SAT grammar tips and tricks. I hope you guys learned something new today and stay tuned for part 2.